All right, all this talk about sex on this particular part of the website, great sex, ? So where is the best place to have sex? I mean, some people would expect, I'm going to say the kitchen or the bedroom or the car or on the side of a mountain or the side of a hill. I don't think that matters much. What does matter is this. The best place to have sex is in the context of marriage. And you say, well, that's kind of old school, man. That's kind of old fashioned. Hey, listen, old school and old fashioned doesn't necessarily make something wrong. Let's think about this. Power of sex has great power. And with that great power, there's choices. We can live a reactive life or a proactive life. We can plan our life in a direction that's going to move towards wholeness and health and enjoyment and fullness. Or we can react our way through life and we can bow our knee to our own flesh and desires and let that run our life. The question is, do we have these underlying principles, these sort of non-negotiables or boundaries that we've accepted and adopted into our life to keep us moving in the direction of relationships, sexual relationships in the context of marriage that are incredible, that are intentional, that are facilitated with God in mind? God has provided a perfect protective context in which to have sex, the covenant of marriage. Not a contract, a covenant. Now, why is this important? As interested in sex as God is, remember, He created it, and He's for it. Why then would you want to cut Him out of it? If He is all-knowing and all-sufficient, and God is love, and God is patient, and God came up with sex, then why wouldn't you want Him in your personal life involved in your sex life? Why wouldn't you want Him blessing your sex life? Why wouldn't you want Him speaking to your husband how to maximize your potential as a wife? Why wouldn't a wife want to be talking to God about having a husband that maximizes his potential to be the husband he's called to be? See, the focus in life is not, am I going to get married, and if so, who? The focus in life, really, the intentional, proactive life is, am I being prepared today to be the wife I'm called to be? Am I preparing myself today to be the husband I'm called to be? Most people are worried about who they're going to marry, and it's fear-based. They're afraid they're not going to get married. They're afraid they're going to be alone, which is a big fear people have nowadays. The question is, do you want God involved in your sex life? And if the answer to that is no, then your sex life is probably inappropriate. Do you want God involved in your sex life? If the answer is yes, then you probably have the proper context. Because why wouldn't you invite Him in there? When you stand up and make a vow to a spouse in what's represented as the presence of God in that ceremony, you're forming a triangle. You're asking God to bless every aspect of your life. And we tend to not want Him involved in our sex life. When we kick Him out or disinvite Him from an area of our life, we can bet we're probably hurting ourselves, as you have seen in how many different videos on sex in this section of the website. You probably don't think about God being involved in your sex life. And the question is, why? And the answer is, you've never been told to. It's never been suggested. You have learned about sex as an absence of God, not a presence of God. And the culture has taught you to negate even one, His existence, and two, certainly His involvement in your sex life. Neither of those things are true. If you want to get biblical about it, God is very much interested in the relationship that you have with your spouse. He's not that interested in blessing a relationship outside that protective context in which you are supposed to enjoy sex. Don't look at it as restrictive. Look at it as the single most liberating thing you can actually experience. A God-ordained, God-blessed, God-anointed sex life with a person that you are joined with for the rest of your life that is totally under His approval, under His authority, and under His blessing. Think about that. Because what we're experiencing apart from Him is not delivering that. It is not providing that at all. Would you not agree? God's interested in your sex life. The question is your sex life in the proper context? Look at it that way. The best place for sex is in the covenant of marriage.